Sandra is in the studio, and welcome, Sandra. Let's make sure your volume is good.
Hi. I'm sorry. I'm so glad to be here.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, we're going to step aside and let you take it away. Go for it.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Sandra Cooze. I'm a certified trauma healer, and today I'm going to talk about intimacy after trauma because this is such a huge subject that so many couples struggle with, including me and my husband. Now, on my own healing journey, I found a way to really understand what intimacy issues are, and most of all, how we can work together to release them. So before I start going into the subject, I would like to read a paragraph because it's so much easier than memorizing everything. So I hope you can forgive me. The intimate moments with your partner are the most treasured times. A hug, a kiss on the forehead, snuggling or holding hands while watching TV. All these moments are treasures. Being sexually intimate should be just as magical. And yet so many couples struggle when it comes to sex and being physically intimate. Sexual trauma can cause so many issues. Not only does it make sexuality a triggering subject, but it wreaks havoc on our relationships. It is often frustrating for both partners for different reasons. And if not addressed, it can become the reason why relationships break apart. But it does not have to come to this. With the right tools, you and your partner can transform your relationship with intimacy and take your relationship to a whole new level. My story is filled with moments of sexual assault, abuse, rape, anything you can think of. But I was able to fully heal. And it brought me on a journey of helping others. Because once you understand trauma, really understand it, it's so powerful because you know exactly what you need to do to heal. And today I want to talk about one small piece of that intimacy after trauma. We need to understand that triggers are, yeah, triggers come without warning, they come without notice. So you may be in a wonderful moment with your partner, and all of a sudden, your partner freezes up. No heads up, no warning. She just freezes up and she says, "Stop, I can't." This is what I usually have to deal with, and many other couples too. The thing is that triggers are unpredictable. They're called triggers for a reason because we don't see them coming. And this is frustrating for the trauma survivor because they want to enjoy the time with their husband. They want to be intimate and they don't know when a trigger is going to appear. So, when we're talking about the triggers, we have to understand that it is not the partner's fault. It's not the partner who triggered or who caused the trigger. It's the memory that's attached to the trauma that hasn't been released yet. When we're being triggered, it's physical. So you can, for example, freeze up. You can feel like you can't breathe. You may feel like you're hyperventilating or you just feel nauseous. That's what usually happened to me. Sometimes my husband and I tried to be intimate and I just felt nauseous by his touch out of the blue for no reason at all. And it was frustrating to me. And at the same time, it scared me because I was wondering, well, what does he think now of me? Does he think I don't want it? Does he think that he's doing something wrong? Or even worse, could this cause a strain in our relationship when this happens? Triggers aren't easy, but you two can work together and heal. You don't need a therapist to do that. You can do this yourselves. And I want to try and explain to you how you can do this and how this will transform your relationship. Because not only will this release intimacy issues, but the level of true intimacy, aside from sexual aspect, is going to go even deeper. Because once you start understanding each other, your communication changes, your trust in each other changes. Your relationship goes to a much deeper level, and it's so much more rewarding and wonderful. So, when you're being triggered, what you're afraid of is only because you're not able to communicate. When we're dealing with trauma, we are often ashamed by it, even if there's no reason to be ashamed, because it's nothing to be ashamed about. It's something that happened to us, and we have to figure out how to release that. So, the first thing that I suggest is be open. You don't have to confide in your husband with the whole story right from the start, but open up to about what just happened, that you were triggered and that it was not his fault. It wasn't your fault either. So no one should be to blame for a trigger that's coming up. The only thing that's to blame is the person who traumatized you. Now, when you're dealing with a trigger, the best thing I would suggest for your partner is hands off, logically, but also ask the question, what do you need? Because sometimes it's enough when you just lie there for a moment and just have your partner in your arms for her to calm down, relax, and release the trigger. But simply assuming that a hug is what's needed is also not correct, because depending on the trigger, your partner may need space in that moment, or your partner just needs to talk through what just happened. Maybe an image popped into her mind. So be present. This is so helpful. Because when you think about the trigger comes up when the nervous system is being triggered, which means something happened in a split second that the body feels unsafe. And the body needs to go back into feeling in control. Because when we were traumatized, it happened against our will, and we lost our sense of being in control. So, in order to release that trigger, we need to teach our body that our boundaries are being respected. And when we say no, there is no pushing, there is no prodding, there is no, oh, come on, it can't be this bad, right? So we need to feel in control. And when we feel in control of our own body, then we can relax, because then we feel safe. And that is the whole process of releasing this trigger, teaching our body it's safe with our partner, no matter what. Logically, we know that we're safe with our partner. I mean, we love them and they love us. So, of course, we're safe, but the body needs a little more help when trauma is involved. So, like I said, hands off, take a step back. What do you need? How can I help? What can I do? Or when the trigger is too intense and you see your partner shaking, like hyperventilating, I'm here, you're safe. Sometimes repeating that several times will help getting through to her consciousness, so that can she realize what you're saying, and just hearing you're safe will help the body to relax. And you see, for your partner, it is a struggle too, because your partner is wondering, did I do something wrong? Is it not okay what I just did? Or what am I supposed to do here? Because your partner, in the moment when you struggle, feels helpless, because he wants to help you, but he doesn't know how. So you have to guide him, to tell him exactly what you need. Sometimes it's space, sometimes it's just a hug, and sometimes it's just talking it through. Whatever it is, allow it to happen. That's how you release the pressure in your body. That's how you release the trigger. And you instinctively know what you need. So see, this is like you can work together, but you have to be honest and you have to be open. It is not easy to listen to the story of a trauma survivor. And so it is important that you take a mental step back and don't allow it to get to you. Because what she's telling you has already happened. It's not going to happen again. And if you take it on, like allow it to get into your emotional field, you will hurt with her. And that's not helping. You have to make sure that her pain is not getting to you so you can play the role in helping her. That's what we do as trauma healers. We don't let the story get to us. Because once we do, we start crying with our clients because the stories we hear sometimes they're horrific. But if you stay in your power and don't let the emotion get to you, you can help your partner in ways you couldn't even imagine. You're basically there. You're her rock in this moment. You're showing her that it is safe to release the trigger. And if you can do this every time, the trigger will become less and less powerful. And at some point, the trigger is simply gone because the body has learned that it is safe to lean into sexual intimacy. It learns that it is safe to be who they are. And once you get to that point, you're halfway there. Because now you can enjoy sexual intimacy without having any triggers. And the next part is to start feeling comfortable talking about sexuality. Talk about your likes, your dislikes. Guide your partner into what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. This is an important part of a beautiful, intimate relationship. And when you can do that, you start talking about deeper subjects, just having conversations. And your relationship is going to take on a whole new level because you started to trust each other in a much deeper level. You're open, you talk about your triggers, you figure them out yourself. It's wonderful. I had intimacy issue for 5 or 6 years with my husband. And whenever I was triggered and said no, he immediately took a step back. But he didn't know why. And to be honest, back then I didn't either. Now I understand. And now I'm so grateful that he was so intuitive of saying, okay, she doesn't want it. Fine. No matter how far we were in the process. Now, today I understand why I was triggered. And I also understand that him taking a step back was exactly what I needed in order to heal. So healing from trauma is a journey. But it's a journey that we can help our partners with. We don't have to be helpless bystanders watching them suffer and struggle. We can take an active role. Sometimes just listening is enough. And that will help your partner to release the trauma in a more gentle way than trying different therapists and not finding the right one for you. You're the right partner. So you can help. You can help in a gentle way. So I do hope that my talk is helpful to you. I know I still have like 5 minutes left, but I also don't want to continuously repeat myself because what's important is that you're there. And when you're there and you listen to your partner, she or he can tell you what they need. And that can help release the trauma. So thank you so much for giving me the time to talk about the subject. And I do hope it was helpful.
we're unmuted, hopefully.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Sandra. That was awesome. I don't think a lot of people really understand the whole trauma thing. And something you said really spoke out to me, which is it takes time to kind of work through it. It's not like you just turn it on or off or whatever. You got to work through it. But it helps to know what you're working through.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I believe it also helps that you understand that those triggers happen at any moment and that it really isn't you.
Right.
It is just the circumstance of the situation that happened, and it's not your fault.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can imagine the spouse of a trauma victim is feeling kind of like, okay, what did I do? I think you said that earlier. You're like, so what did I do? Well, you didn't do anything, right? It happened.
Not your fault.
It's not your fault.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's so important to understand because then you can help heal because you understand that there's something that can be done.
Right.
I also like what you said that sometimes they might need a touch. Sometimes they might need a word, but sometimes they might just need space.
Yes.
They just need a moment.
And they know what they need.
Yes. And maybe sometimes they don't even know what they need, but giving them that space to work through it and you not feel like it's your fault, that is truly helpful.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, thank you, Sandra. We're going to go ahead and take another break here. And let's see. Let me do that. We really appreciate you. We're going to take another break until the top of the hour, and then we'll be back with our next speaker.
Thank you, Sandra, for your words of encouragement and enlightenment. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.